Typically, I come up with some kind of fun or witty way to start the show off, and within my wit is a veiled attempt to get you to do something nice for me by way of liking, rating, sharing, and or subscribing to the podcast. Today I have no wit, just honesty. Every week, I sit in a near soundproof room, I look upon a dimly lit screen, and I give my best performance into a microphone that leads seemingly to nowhere. I do this as a vain attempt to interpret forces far beyond human recognition, but also as a means to express the purpose within my humble soul. It's a meager offering, but it's one that I do with care and precision, capturing the essence of the gods and distilling them down into digestible morsels. Okay, I can't with myself anymore. Please just go rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast so I can stop with the Shakespearean soliloquies. But it is Leo season, and I had to give it a little drama, a little flair, give them the razzle-dazzle. But for real, if you're enjoying me sitting in a room, explaining what the planets are doing each week into a microphone that seemingly goes to nowhere, just throw me a bone in the form of some stars. If nothing else, it'll get me to shut up and get on with the show. And with that, let's get into today's forecast. Over the last couple of weeks, there's been one planet I haven't given much attention to because it honestly hasn't been all that active. Can you guess which one? Spoiler alert, it's Mars. Mars has been in Virgo since the middle of June, but there hasn't been much to write home about. And I love Mars. I could talk about Mars all day. I'm a Mars-ruled person. But it just hasn't been doing a whole lot. It might be adding to the overall picture of the retrogrades where people are being a little more critical, precise, or noticing all the details, but in general, Mars has been pretty quiet, which isn't the worst thing because it is a malefic, but it's about to get a little rowdy, and it's definitely the main character this week, outside of all the retrogrades. You already know that you need to keep paying attention to the retrograde planets and what they're doing, so we're going to explore something else this week. Just because we have 5 placements in retrograde motion doesn't mean that other things don't matter, so let's see what's up with Mars and what it's getting into. There's a couple reasons Mars hasn't been super loud. I already mentioned because it's drowning in retrograde energy, but it's also because it hasn't been making a ton of aspects, so it hasn't been asserting its energy to other realms of our lives via those planetary conversations. It's also in Virgo, which is pretty low-key, and it moves in silence anyway. But the biggest reason for the toned-down Mars right now has been the conjunction with the South Node, Ketu. This is a good time to remind people that I'm a Hellenistic astrologer, so the North and South nodes, the lunar nodes, Rahu and Ketu, they don't mean the same thing in my worldview as they do in modern astrology. There's no karmic link in my worldview with the nodes. The only things that Rahu and Ketu do is increase and decrease. I have an astrology lecture that you can purchase if you're interested in learning more about the lunar nodes from a Hellenistic perspective, but that's the very basic gist. Rahu increases, Ketu decreases. Since the beginning of July, Mars has been within orb of Ketu, which means its vitality and power has been drained. This means that Mars's malefic energy has been a lot less malefic than it normally would be if Ketu wasn't there, which I'm honestly going to take because it's in my 12th house, and 12th house transits are not cute. They are not fun. I was preparing for some hardcore mental anguish and anxiety, and I did have some of that in June. I damn near lost my mind in June, especially when Maple just dropped out of the sky into our lives, which again, she's the whole moment. I love her. I'm obsessed with her. But it really did send me for a little bit of a loop, a little spiral. But come early July, it all started to settle down a bit. Mars's intensity had a damper put on it, and it's allowed us to harness its energy in a more manageable way within the realm of Virgo. But also, it's likely leaving us feel a little sluggish or drained at times because Ketu does that. Ketu just drains and drains and drains. It decreases, decreases, decreases. So it's really a catch-22. Mars isn't being as pointed and slicey and dicey as it normally would be in Virgo, but it is a bit more sluggish or hard to get motivated. Part of the big news with Mars is that it leaves Virgo this week and it ingresses into Libra. It does have detrimental dignity in Libra, so while you might not feel as sluggish because Ketu is out of the picture, the Libran influence is going to bring passive-aggressive energy and the inability to set boundaries or keep good boundaries. How fun. This ingression happens midweek, and then by the end of the week, Mars is within orb with all the retrograde planets. There's an impressive opposition with Saturn and Neptune, and I say impressive because gosh, if it isn't going to feel some type of way. And then there's a sextile with Mercury and a trine with Pluto. This is all happening while Saturn is making all those aspects with the outer planets that I said it's going to be making aspects with forever. So it's still doing that. There's still intense energy coming from Saturn and all those generational planets. And then Mars joins the party. So the weekend is really going to usher in the need to be strategic with our boundaries and watch how we use our words. We need to stand our ground, but in a way that keeps the peace and gets us to where we want to be. My biggest piece of advice is don't people please and don't let other people control you or make decisions for you. You need to be an active participant in the decisions being made. That Saturn-Mars opposition is saying, there might be someone that's trying to control the narrative or control the way you move or control your actions. And the trine with Pluto saying, there's power in being peaceful, yet still taking charge. So be diplomatic and move with dignity because that's how Mars in Libra needs to be. It's in detriment and it doesn't like it, but that's how it needs to be. We also have a full moon in Aquarius this weekend, which is adding to the intensity. Luckily, it won't be conjunct Pluto, but it is still in the same realm of Pluto because they're both in Aquarius, which means power struggles and vying for control are likely. Also, just big emotions might come up. Remember Mars in these instances. Move with grace and dignity no matter what the full moon illuminates. If you want more on the full moon, go sign up to receive the Lunar Horoscope edition of my zine. It's got all the details and a personalized horoscope waiting for you. The last thing I want to say about this week has to do with Jupiter, and luckily, I think it was last week I said Zeus might smite me. It didn't happen, but he might get me this week. Jupiter is still a nothing burger. It has nothing going on. There are no aspects to be seen, but Venus is inching closer. Come the weekend, Venus is almost in range. I say almost. She's getting there. Venus is getting there. So come the weekend, Venus is almost in range with Jupiter, and we might finally get some of the auspicious energy to even out the volcanic playing field that Mars, Saturn, and all the other outer planets are creating. I know people have been complaining that Jupiter in Cancer has, again, been a nothing burger. What has come of it? What is going on? Or it just kind of sucks. Well, it's coming. Venus is going to brighten the party a little bit, but we do have to wait. Again, this weekend, you might start to see hints and glimmers of that goodness, but Jupiter has just been sitting pretty for a while. Jupiter's going to be in Cancer for a whole year since it first ingressed, so we have time. The goodness is coming. Remember, growth isn't always comfortable, but when Venus sneaks up on Jupiter, it's going to be like, oh my gosh, hey. So we might have some goodness coming our way next week. When you have both malefics and the unpredictable nature of the generational planets colliding, there's going to be some kind of struggle, intensity, transformation, or even a fallout that can happen. I can't stress enough how important it is to not let other people dictate our actions this week. Stand up for yourself in the most tactful and harmonic way possible. Be peaceful, be just. Don't try to cheat people. Don't try to skirt around the issue. Face it head on. I know that Libra doesn't like confrontation, but Libra does like justice and harmony. And sometimes when Mars is in Libra, we need to fight for our harmony, fight for our peace. So if someone or something doesn't respond to your call for peace, then it might be time to cut them loose or weigh other options. Just don't overthink it. Move forward with care in the realm of Libra, and you'll be just fine. Thank you for tuning into this week's forecast. If you want a more detailed look at what this week's astro weather holds for you personally, go to my website, moonmattersastrology.com, and sign up to receive my zine. You can also find me on Patreon by searching for Moon Matters. The best way to keep up to date with my work or to book a reading with me is to sign up for my mailing list on my website. I'll meet you back here next week, but until next time, later days.